those decks where it's like kind of in between, where it's kind of a rogue deck, but there are also a decent number of people that have been on it. So do you think it has that unfamiliarity aspect where Quinlan might not know what it's trying to do, how fast it's trying to go, or anything? Or
I
is Vader
think
just kind of that straightforward of a leader that you kind of know?
I think it's a mix of both probably. Like if I'm looking across to Vader, I'm expecting early space obviously, so I'm expecting stuff like Kajimi patrollers, in yellow maybe some cartel spacer. And then I'm also expecting maybe some invisible hand stuff.
Hmm.
Against yellow before the triple dark raid ban, I would be expecting some triple dark raid stuff as well to find that
Yeah.
invisible hand. Without triple dark raid, maybe some sneak attack. But like
Hmm.
I think you know the general game plan, but the specifics of certain cards, as well as like, are they on the underworld package? That would be kind of reasonable for them to play. Are they
Yeah.
just on like a separatist package even? That wouldn't be that unreasonable. So it's hard to know
Yeah.
specifics, but I think you know a general game plan.
Yeah, I will say I enjoyed messing around with whether it's Vader or not, but you triple dark raid into invisible hand and try to get swarming vulture droids going.
Hmm.
That was a lot of fun to try to make
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, Swarming Vulture Droid is a card that there's a lot of analogs in Magic the Gathering of like breaking deck limit size, and
Hmm.
it's actually statted decently well, so it's not unreasonable to see competitive play. But I imagine this game one for Quinlan is going to be a bit of a feel out game, and I like this from
Yeah,
Quinlan. He passed
it
first
passed.
action.
Hmm.
Normally, against a deck that's going slightly bigger than you, which Vader is, you don't always want to pass, but because Vader getting a unit turn one is so important for them to start
Yeah,
generating ties, I think this is a good call from
and
Quinlan.
that's where you go with the assumptions. You assume this Vader deck's going to be aggressive.
Hmm.
If you're not really using your Vader leader ability. And yeah, you can use the Vader to kind of soft pass, but that's not a. I mean, Quinlan can just pass again. It doesn't really mean much right now.
Yeah, and the Kajimi Patrollers, you love to see it. If you're Quinlan there, you get a ping
Hmm.
off the non-token for free, and Vader requires you attacking with a non-token unit to start generating value. So,
Yeah, nothing Quinlan likes better than getting the main unit off board without having to use Tarkin Town on turn one.
hmm
It is going to be difficult to ping this token, but you could always, if you really wanted to, you could attack into it. But do you think Quinlan's just going to leave this token around and potentially get got by some pilots, or do you think they're going to need to try to clear this?
I think my instinct is to just clear it. Don't get punked out by anything. If you get to like the mid-game Quinlan flip relatively
Mhm.
healthy, and even with Target Town still up, I think you're feeling pretty good about it. So, the 3 damage does matter. Like you do want to get them dead relatively fast, but I think you're gonna have enough time over the course of the game to get that damage in. So I wouldn't get too cute with it.
Yeah. Oh well, or they put a pilot. But if you have a 3 drop, you can still clear this.
Hmm. Uh, that 3 drop, but with the ping here, you get to take it out
Yeah,
either
you
with
get to ping
the.
Tarkin Town and still kill the pilot.
Hmm. And our Quinlan player on the left here with the secret sleeves. Shout out to Team Secret. He is a member of Team Secret. I believe
Yeah.
they're based in the Northeast. At least that's where I've heard of them from. So.
Excellent. So yeah, so we see the Quinlan player. If you were able to watch or kind of listen through the fog of round one, this player is the brother of the CAD player from, or the yeah, the I believe he's the CAD player in round one, or might have been the other deck. Either way, the brother of the round one secret player.
Mhm. Interesting use of Tarkentown there. I don't hate it. Like, keep your space unit alive to threaten more stuff. Um, I am particularly stingy with my Tarkentowns with Quinlan.
Hmm.
Uh, but probably too stingy sometimes. I might have just traded my A wing into it, but
Well, it doesn't even
either
trade, right? Because the jump master is only a 2/4.
yeah.
To me, the big thing was it goes back to when I was asking you how much he cares about clearing that token. I think he used the Tarkin Town to make sure that he could clear the token, so we didn't see a pilot or anything.
Hmm.
But yeah, I agree. It'll be an interesting turning point if we see a point in this game where he really wishes he had Tarkin Town and didn't, and then the token doesn't amount to much.
Hmm. And like, if you keep the token alive, but save your Tarkin Town teamed up with that A wing can help clear
Hmm.
that piloted up leader.
Really interesting here. So you see the basically the value Kira where he names the 1 drop so that he doesn't so that Vader can't develop a ship this turn rather than naming one of the more expensive cards that could have a bigger impact. I
Mhm.
don't disagree with the decision because I think he's trying to avoid some of the Vader synergies.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting. It's always a discussion of do you disrupt their turn this turn or do you disrupt a what could be a much more powerful turn in the future?
Yeah. And I think this is the point where Quinlan's going to start turning the corner here and go mostly base, try and
Hmm.
develop maybe 2 units this turn. And there's an interesting tension point here of you almost don't want to play a space unit as Quinlan because the only way that Vader can start generating tokens this turn is with an ambusher. But if you don't give them a target to ambush, they can't get a space attack off. And
Yeah,
so,
I'll be really interested if Quinlan can clear the space board this turn. Oh, Victor leader is huge. That means
yep.
it's going to be much harder to ping off. Because otherwise you could Quinlan flip play any unit to kill this token, but now you can't. So it's
Mhm.
looking like Vader is going to get to deploy on a ship next turn unless Quinlan spends a lot of resources trying to clear that up. And this is what we talked about, where if there was a Tarkin Town here, then you could Tarkin
Yep.
Town the Victor leader, and then you could start pinging off the ships. It's really interesting.
This is the biggest target on target in the deck, I think, is the Victor leader.
Yeah.
Now, if Quinlan has Millennium Falcon here, that helps a lot because you can ping Victor
Yep.
leader, then attack into it. Then any 2-drop kills that token with the ping with Quinlan deployed. So there's still some lines here for Quinlan, but this is the cost of using the Tarkin Town early, right? You
Yeah.
got some damage in, you got to clear the token, but now this Victor leader gets scary.
And do you think Quinlan can win the race if Vader gets to flip onto a unit?
I think so. From here, with no damage on your base, you get at least 9 damage this turn. That's not including pumps.
Hmm.
And you get to develop a threat. So, like, say he just plays a Plo Koon out, that's 6 more damage next turn, or a Poe, that's 8 more damage.
Hmm.
It's probably going to take at least 2 turns to die to Vader here, which we
I'm
see Vader
surprised strike
going
for
for the
5.
race. We see him going for it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he only has to count to 25. Quinlan has to count higher.
mhm.
Um,
If things stand as they are, that would be 7 plus 2 is 9 more damage for Vader next turn. So probably has lethal over 2. It's does
yeah.
Quinlan have lethal next turn, which I think is very reasonable.
I think we're also going to get into action economy type of stuff. Who's going to have initiative? Who's going to have lethal in the fewest actions? I think they're in a point where they're probably both going to have lethal on the same turn, unless Quinlan has some pumps.
Mhm.
Next turn.
So we are looking at 12. So a surprise strike from
Yeah.
Quinlan would make it lethal next turn. 15 plus 12 is 27 plus 3 would make it 30. Did seemingly miss the Quinlan ping here. I don't think it's going to matter, but if you put a damage
Mhm.
on that TIE fighter, and then
Yep.
somehow manage to defeat the Victor leader, that TIE fighter would die with the damage on it.
Or any
So,
second unit you play next turn could kill the TIE fighter. Um,
mhm. Which puts pressure, like you said, that action economy, that action pressure,
yeah.
kind of forces Vader to attack with that TIE fighter first.
Okay, they
And
do. Hang on.
like he was just thinking about it.
Oh, he's doing the discard first. Is what
That's
it
what it
was. So,
was.
so the Vader player was deciding what to discard.
Ooh, I think Quinlan drew Big Falcon there.
That's a good one. Um, Basically, you assume Vader's going to deploy first action here. So if you draw Big Falcon, you can just ambush whatever they don't deploy onto and kill that.
Hmm.
You're
Or
not going to
even
be able to. Oh, if he starts with an attack, okay, he's moving his stuff to the side.
I think I saw a surprise strike in Quinlan's hand as well, so he might be going for lethal
Mhm.
here. Honestly, the biggest fear at this point is a flip into an overwhelming barrage. That's kind of what you
Yeah.
have to play around.
Yeah, you can't do much about that though, because this Vader gives +5/+5. Oh, the
Ooh,
bamboozle. So
that
now
is
that plays around
brutal.
overwhelming barrage. So that just defeats the Vader straight away.
Yeah.
Now I feel comfortable saying Quinlan's winning the race,
Yeah.
just by a
Takes
little
off
bit.
5 damage. Oh, okay. Sanctioner shuttle. I think prevents lethal this turn, and that is a big space
Yeah,
force
but
with Victor Leader out
all your
there.
pressure is gone is the problem. You're gonna instead of going from 5 to 20, you get to go from 5 to 7 damage on Quinlan's base, and here you get to kill the Victor leader, which kills the token as well.
And then a ping kills a second token,
Yeah,
and
and then ping. Yep, so 2 tokens down.
absolutely brutal. That was about the perfect turn from Quinlan.
Yeah, that's always been ever since this set was previewed and I've been testing with it, and even in limited, honestly, that's always been my problem with Vader leader is he always seems a little fragile. If you're playing against some of these removal heavy decks like the Cads or the Quinlans, who can stop you from using your ability or can easily kill the 1/1s, then it can be really hard to get any momentum. Add into that the Bamboozle main deck from Quinlan, and it's just it's a tough day to be a Vader pilot.
Yeah. If you get the snowball rolling with Vader, it's very hard to stop it, but it's easy to stop it before it starts, or easier to stop it before it starts.
Sometimes the snow just melts, and Bamboozle has high snow melting abilities if you're playing Vader pilot. Absolutely.
If Vader is a snowball, Bamboozle's the bonfire that just instantly melts it. Yeah.
I mean, I remember the classic Frosty the Snowman, that tale of foreboding for Vader of melting and coming back again someday.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he'll get to come back in game 2. We're not playing a best of 1 here. I don't know what he could do to come back this game, but
don't think there is much. I think that's the Wingman Viktor. I don't know which one.
Viktor to make a pilot.
But the surprise strike will be lethal there.
Yes.
On
to game 2. So pretty convincing, I would say, from Quinlan. It looked like they were winning the race anyway, and then they also had the Bamboozle and Ahsoka. We didn't even see a ton of the discard package out of Quinlan. It was more just the control of you don't get any 1/1s, and then the holding the Bamboozle for the Vader flip.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Quinlan here, how aggressively do you try to aggressively mulligan for this Bamboozle, or do you just trust that it's kind of the icing on the cake if you draw it and you just don't want to mess up your early turns and you're more worried about those?
I think because Vader deploys on 6 and you're going to dig so far into your deck beforehand, I think I just want to have a good curve because you don't even need the Bamboozle to win this matchup. Yeah. Like we saw there, if Quinlan didn't have Bamboozle there, I don't even know if he's losing. I think he does lose if the Vader has, or is close to losing if the Vader has Overwhelming Barrage, which is why he did what he did. But I prioritize like a higher curve, and I think oftentimes you can get the board state to a point where it doesn't even have to be Bamboozle on Vader flip. If Quinlan there just had like a Spark of Rebellion or a Kira on that turn to prevent the Overwhelming Barrage and could still push to base, I think that's good enough there.
Yeah.
So I don't
Overwhelming Barrage Vader gives +5/+5, correct? So Overwhelming Barrage would have only been for 9, quote unquote only. Yeah. So it wouldn't have. There were 4 completely healthy units on Quinlan's board. It would have only killed 2 of them. So it might have made the race closer, but even Barrage there, I don't think would have been a super big blowout or anything.
I don't think it's game over for Quinlan, but I think it's the only card that Vader could play to get him back in the game there.
Yeah, definitely. It just slammed the door shut when that option was gone, for sure.
Yes. So I don't aggressively mulligan for the upgrade removal. You definitely add more of it to your deck. Like I think Fang Fighters, if that's in the sideboard, it's totally reasonable. I think I saw a sneak peek of Quinlan's sideboard and saw Open Fire, which I think he brought in mostly. I imagine mostly due to Viktor leader. It's great at sniping a Viktor leader.
Do you put it in the sideboard more for cards like Falcon, and this is just a happy coincidence, a little happy accident that you get Viktor leaders to snipe out?
Yep, all right, 100%. I'm going to hop in for just a second here because I had a random thing in the chat that I'm doing. Right now, as we started the stream, Mickey D's channel was at 298 subs. If you can get it to double that, we have more people watching right now than we need. But if you can get it to 594, I'm going to give away a pack of Carbonite to somebody here, and send it out. So somebody help out Mickey D. We need to get it there. And please subscribe to Late Night Gaming too. I don't say that enough. 100%. It's bad, but
also don't forget to like this video. All the metric stuff is really big. We have to engage our algorithm overlords.
Get it out there. Share it if you can. There's plenty of regional discords. Post the link there. Get people watching some SWU on a Saturday.
Christian Schmidt in the chat, is the Vader undefeated? Yes, the Vader is undefeated. Both of these players are undefeated, 4-0 going into round 5. And there's another undefeated Vader, who's a guy we know.
Yes, there are 2
George
undefeated
Hudson.
Vader pilots.
That is who I've been.
George is on Vader 1.
Yeah,
he's on Vader 1 Data Bolt.
Yeah, well, both Vaders can be okay, but Vader 1 Data Bolt is a kind of okay deck.
Yes.
So.
Oh no, I'm saying there are 2 Vader pilots undefeated and a set 1 Vader undefeated.
So there are 3 Darth Vader total.
So there are 3 Darth Vaders undefeated total.
2 different flavors.
Yeah.
Vader winning the Vader versus Luke race of going for the showcase as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of that on the back of George just being an incredible player as well.
I mean, it's not an accident though. He's put a lot of work into this deck. I tried to help him out with it,
Yes.
trying to put
Incredible
in some work as well.
player
It's a really cool deck.
And incredible
Hopefully
deck
we'll get to see it
builder.
on stream. Yeah.
He's got some really interesting ideas in there, and it was incredible to watch. Public viewing. Okay, I wonder if that's out of the sideboard. I could see it being in the main deck, just trying to go wide here. It's very good. The 1-drops preventing the Quinlan ping is a good strategy.
I think it's main deck because also with the Kijimi Patrollers and stuff, you want to have options to go 2 1-drops. I think as a deck, you know that Quinlan Tarkentown is going to be a big meta player, so I think you prepare for it. And what's one of the known plans against Quinlan is, hey, if I go 2 1-drops, then I'm doing a lot better. So I think you just put it main deck.
Mm-hmm. And it seems with a lot of 1-drops, and there's some decent amount of 2-drops as well, and like the pilots giving that modularity of being able to be a 2 or a 1, a 3 or a 2. I wouldn't be surprised if a major play line for the Vader deck is going 2-drop into 2+1-drop on turn 2.
Yeah.
Either that or like 1+1 into Viktor leader can really close a door out if your opponent starts
Yeah, especially if the one of the ones is the Kijimi Patrollers where you make 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a lot of cool plays there to just start the snowball on turn 1 and then turn 2 you can be so far behind.
Yep. Quinlan passing here. I think trying to bait out a Viktor leader would be my guess, or any 3-drop really to ping Tarkentown, but that's the big one. And I like the claim here from Vader. This guarantees a second token through a second attack. Plus, now your 2-1 has raid 1, so you're going to get Quinlan either to 5, or you can trade into that Green Squadron A-Wing. And you want to get to your flip as healthy as possible.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious if they take the trade here, because it is kind of appealing, because otherwise it really depends on what kind of a ship you have this turn to play. The Tarkentown is still up, so I think if you're worried that whatever you play this turn is going to get killed, then you just go base and know that this A-Wing is going to get 2 trades in.
For example,
if a token, interesting.
I guess it's the hardest to ping, although a 2-1 is also hard to ping. Maybe just wants to save the damage this turn, and also keeps your A-Wing alive to trade into something else, or potentially set up a Tarkentown on something else. I don't hate
isn't it a 1/1 with raid when there's a token? So, or
it's a 2-1.
Oh, it's a 2/1. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. I get all the green villain ships mixed up.
Yep, they all look very similar, all similarly statted and cheap. So,
because I know the one that makes a 1/1 token is a 1/1 itself. So yeah, this is a 2/1 with raid when you have a token. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. In that case, I totally agree. And now next turn, you're probably gonna, you're gonna throw your A-Wing into this contracted jump master if you can't, you can't try to ping Tarkentown. But even if you do, you could throw the token into the A-Wing. Or honestly, if your jump master gets pinged, I would just attack the jump master into the A-Wing at that point.
It's gonna get Tarkentown most likely anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, that would kind of force the Tarkentown as opposed to letting him attack with A-Wing.
Yep. This is kind of what you want if you're Vader here, though. Go wide in space, annoying stuff to ping. Quinlan kind of wants to go wide on this turn, like a 2+3 to help start pinging down some of that space. But
and your wide things are hidden behind a 2/4 Sentinel as well, which is currently not the easiest for Quinlan to get through, at least not action efficiently.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting turn to navigate, because I think Vader can almost slam the door here if he manages to stick a Viktor leader and keep it alive. Yeah. But with that Tarkentown still up, that's going to be hard to do, because any 3-drop.
This is where you can go the other way with the action cheating too. Like we talked before about trying to find lethal in fewer actions, but here you can just start attacking with 1/1s, until they use the Tarkin Town, and then say, okay, now that you've used Tarkin Town, I'm going to play this Victor leader. You lose a couple of damage this turn from not pumping the 1/1s, but you get to save your Victor leader.
Yep. I think it's one of my favorite parts of this game is the action economy. Sometimes being action dense is really really important. Sometimes being action sparse is really important. Like efficiency versus being able to react. It's a really fine balance.
Yeah, and we've seen Vader utilizing that and understanding that they can just activate their leader as a way to soft pass without potentially losing, or without potentially just having your opponent be able to pass back and the turn be over.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a Vader activation here to just kind of bait an action out of Quinlan, make him commit to something first.
Yeah, the Quinlan did deploy, so everything is pingable now. Oh, there's the barrage.
Okay.
Onto the Victor leader 2-1.
For 5, gets the Ahsoka out, puts a lot of pressure on. That's gonna attack for now 6. It looks like. So that's gonna be.
Also, can't be Tarkin Town this turn with a ping. It would die at the end of turn, but
you're still gonna take the 6, and so that's what.
Exactly. Yeah, same thing here with the open fire. It doesn't die right now. Oh no, sorry, it still does.
It does. It's
only
exactly
1 health. Yeah.
That's
an interesting play there. Really heads up play by Mikael here, because one of my thoughts was if you have open fire, it can cleanly answer the jump master. But then he would not have had a clean answer for that barraged up unit.
Yep. It does appear that Vader's going to stick this game, and it's going to be at a relatively high life total. Tarkin Town, I was curious about this. I think I agree with this.
Tarkin Town still.
But it's close, because if you don't Tarkin Town it, Vader's going to pilot onto it, and then you're never going to be able to attack anything directly.
Yeah, well, I think you definitely Tarkin Town it as well, because Vader took initiative, so now Vader doesn't have a non-token unit, so they can't get that 1 extra token before they deploy anyway. Yeah, I definitely agree with the Tarkin Town there. And I think we saw the A-Wing attack happen because Quinlan had a lot of options. They wanted to keep their options open. I would imagine they had ways if they didn't need to use the open fire to ping the jump master. But since they saved the Tarkin Town and had the open fire, they were able to kind of navigate that the best way that they needed to.
Yep. So Vader gives +5/+5, correct?
Yes. So now we have a 6/6, and it makes 2 TIE fighters. So we see, there's another bamboozle.
Had the bamboozle again.
Vader is not sticking.
But still 4 1/1s, although this healthy Quinlan is going to be brutal. And I almost
every unit's going to ping a 1/1.
I was almost wondering if you just wanted to flip Vader to ground there. Start cleaning up the ground. Prevent getting blown out by upgrade removal, especially post-board. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I think, to me, it depends on how far behind you think you are. If you think you are really far behind, then you flip Vader in space and make them have the bamboozle. If you think you can win this more easily, then I think you flip to ground and try to trade. The problem is Quinlan is really good at taking out, taking out decently health leaders. Like they're sitting there with all their resources and Quinlan deployed. So something like a Plo Koon, I don't think your Vader is going to get in a ton of work on the ground. You'd have to hope that maybe they sided out the Plo Koons.
Yep. Which I do think, I don't know if you side them out, but I definitely resource it more aggressively in this kind of matchup.
Yeah.
But
here we see the same thing again. Falcon coming in, ambushing 1, killing another. So he went for 2 tokens because I think he's just telling Vader, you can get your 1/1, but I'm so far ahead, you're gonna have to trade into my Falcon. I'm not gonna do it for you.
Yep. Because that's 11 damage on Quinlan's board. Another barrage would be for 7 here. We'd be able to clean up the Sabine and the Falcon or the Quinlan.
Yeah, barrage would be big.
Barrage would be quite good, and we're getting just 7 resources. I'm not sure how big the top end for this Vader deck is. Looks like he didn't even resource this 7, so
yeah,
looking to be more aggressive, not as much top end, it appears.
Yeah, and I've had the same problem with both Vader and Luke pilot leaders. The fact that they kind of want to be aggressive in general, but they deploy at 6, which is inherently a not very aggressive time to deploy.
Yeah. Yep. So you basically don't have a leader. Luckily, your leader ability does add into that game plan, especially Vader's of just generating units to attack with, but not being able to get that free 5 damage in, especially in this matchup, the Bamboozle not even getting that 5 in.
Yep.
Is brutal.
Interesting play here to lead with the Sanctioner shuttle, because now Quinlan has the option. Do they want to free their Sabine, which I don't think that's the most likely option, but it's an option. They could just get 5 more damage into base. They could take out the larger space unit if they're worried about it. Going with the force throw.
If Vader has like 2 cards in hand, which I think is about the number I like this. That's the number I usually target for like a force throw where I need to do a certain amount of damage. And even in this case, like if you get a 5, wonderful. If you get a 3, very good. But even if you get a 1, you're getting rid of a token, shrinking that. Right now it's a 7/7 or is it a 6/6 because it counts other units, I believe. So, yep, you only get a 1, but you get to clear a tie. This isn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
Another one.
Sanctioner shuttle. No, nothing to capture, but you're just giving that buff to your unit.
Mm-hmm.
And also people talking and debating whether you should deploy ground or space. If you have this unit in your hand that gets a buff for each unit, deploying in space makes a lot more sense because you just make 2 tokens. So it helps get in there.
Now you might have to take the trade with the Falcon.
He goes to base.
I'm talking as the Quinlan.
Oh, sorry. You mean Mikael trading into the
Yeah. But now you can't. At least not this turn, because now it's a 6/6 again.
Yeah.
This is a very
I don't
precarious.
hate just getting your Sabine back.
Yep, I
that
think
also shrinks it, and your Falcon's still alive.
I think that's what I'd do. But it's a very up in the air game right now.
Yeah, Vader's been pumping in the damage. Yeah, Mikael does go to get his Sabine back here.
I think I like
that. That does leave the door open for Sanctioner shuttle to just kill the Falcon, but then you're also shrinking the damage on base and shrinking the other unit. What we might see instead is first action play a space unit so that it still can't, so that he still can't take out the big one with the Falcon.
As it stands, I believe Quinlan is 1 short of lethal on board right now, and Vader is 3 short. But Quinlan does have a number of pumps, any amount of hotshot blasters, even a second Cassian or a surprise strike Falcon. A lot of damage from hand opportunities.
Yeah, Vader's damage is kind of up in the air as well, because if they get extra tokens and more units, then this guy gets buffed even more. Like a contracted jump master could be a decent play right out of the gate.
Yep, blocks the Falcon, makes it trade into something that can attack this turn. Like a turn of contracted jump master into Viktor leader. Like protect all your space units, get them even buffer.
Yep.
Save 5 damage on your base. Like that could be a good turnaround. A Barrage again. Barrage is a good card. Who knew? Could take out Cassian and Falcon. Could take out 2 units essentially.
Oh, just surprise striking in here. So getting in for 8. So that was the difference that we noted. But a lot of these units are fairly easy to kill. So I would expect Quinlan to not be dead to nothing. But if there's another surprise strike here.
Yep.
So I think the best thing for Mikael to have right now would be another big Falcon to just play from hand and kill both units in one action. Feels kind of bad.
I would not be surprised if you have a 2-drop or something to just ping off the token and say, if you have a second pump, you got me, because Vader was top decking that turn.
Yeah, and we do see that. We see the second unique unit come into play to ping off a token.
Yeah. Now, Vader might have to trade into this Falcon because any pump is lethal for Quinlan. And if you trade off this Falcon, then you have just a 3/3 left over, but that could be enough.
Yeah, you do get a token this turn, And you assume Quinlan's going to have to attack in, so you'll probably get to play another card, make a token, and still have initiative. Unless you force Quinlan to not spend their resources and not play actions.
That's not a bad one too, because with a token here, that's 2 lethal threats on board. The 2/1 with Ray 1 when you have a token, as well as just even just the 3/3 body, but it'll be a 5/5 with a token made. So I think if you're Vader here, you can take Falcon out of your opponent's range. You can take most cheap units out of your opponent's range, honestly, because they would have played anything else other than that Sabine to ping your 1/1. And so what's left in their
the one
hand
thing
is...
that I could say is if they have a 6-drop they want to play, like maybe they have a big Falcon, but they didn't want to play it first. So playing the Sabine over a 3-drop meant that they still have 6 resources up.
Yep.
So it could have just been resource management.
Like a Falcon in the row there, yeah.
Yeah. Or a 6-3-3 or a 2-3-3 that they wanted to play. So maybe now there's a Falcon plus this hotshot blaster. For little Falcon plus this.
I think if I'm taking my opponent off of Falcon here, I think if they have the Falcon, it was an excellent bluff. And I think you have to claim as Vader here because a second hotshot is lethal if the Quinlan claims. A surprise strike is lethal if the Quinlan claims. I think my opponent is more likely to have a second hotshot or a surprise strike in their hand than they are to have a Falcon.
We're at 20. Vader's at 23 as well, so Falcon's not lethal.
No, but it does clear the board. And they had the Falcon. Brutal.
Yeah.
I think that's a fine call and just excellent bluff from Quinlan there just to really lock it up.
Yeah. Yeah, Vader got really close that game. I think it showed kind of the resilience of Vader. We talked about it being a little bit of a glass cannon and a little bit easy to disrupt. But I think it showed there that even through some of this disruption, it can still have some big turns and get really close. Quinlan needed to have 2-drop, 3-drop Falcon. So like Falcon being the last card there was huge.
Yep. I think Falcon being the last card, the ping or creating the token wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, and that good games. So I think Vader played it right there because I think even if you make the token, you can't beat